Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Good morning. This is Mike Stoller for the Stoller Real Estate Report. What's really happening in the office market? People were totally scared about the office market. Lenders didn't want to lend in the office market. You couldn't sell property. You couldn't lease property. So all of a sudden, the world has changed. It's become a good time for the owners of office buildings. And the pricing is up, market conditions are up, and leases are up. So when it comes to leases, I have someone who's celebrating his 1,000th transaction in the real estate world. I have John Cinosky, who is a partner at ABS Real Estate Partners.
Michael, thank you very much for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure.
So let's talk about what happened in the 1,000 transactions or the latest transactions and what's happening in the market.
Thank you. It's 1,000 transactions seems a lot when we talk about it, but it's gone by quickly. 30 years was in a flash. The market today, it's palpable. You can feel the change from 3 or 4 years ago.
Did it come about all of a sudden?
Almost. Well, not all of a sudden. There's about 1.5 years, 2 years ago is when you started to feel it. It started to shift. Buildings started to fill up a little bit. Pricing started to increase, 18 months ago. And about 1 year ago, it started taking off.
So give me an example of pricing going up and the changes. It's been a repositioning with regard to the office buildings, correct?
It's been a repositioning. And I think a perfect example of this is kind of a microcosm in the broader New York marketplace is 270 Madison Avenue, which is a building that I handled the leasing for, along with Jay Casely and Colin Godwin. About 18 months ago, we took the building off the market. We had about 40% vacancy. We refurbished all of the space. We did pre-builts.
You built a lot of pre-builts. Explain to my audience what is the pre-built and why you did that.
So a pre-build is what we do when we get together with an architect. We take all of our collective experience and we guess what tenants are looking for. And it's been pretty simple lately. People are looking for perimeter offices, open area, concrete floors, very modern, big, open kitchens, high ceilings, exposed oval ductwork, carpeting in the offices to keep the sound down, and smaller reception areas for the most part than we used to have.
And what's the typical size of these pre-built offices?
Typically, we try to we keep the pre-builds between 3,000 and 7,000 square feet with our sweet spot between 4,000 and 5,000 square feet. We've done some 7,000 square feet. They tend to take a little bit longer to lease. And interestingly enough, the smaller space, which at one time was very popular, the 1,200 and 2,000 square foot spaces, are also taking a longer time.
Now, who's moving into these spaces?
We're getting a lot of finance groups, certainly a lot of tech groups, AI groups, fashion at 270 Madison Avenue, oddly, other people coming over from the Garment Center. But that's pretty much what we're seeing now. Some attorneys.
But I think what you're also seeing is the overflow from the Long Island Railroad now to Penn Station and
the Long Island Railroad
to Grand Central.
The Long Island Railroad East Side access has been a boon to our area, to Grand Central. People now have 2 different options to head to Long Island. They don't have to go to Penn Station. They can use the time schedule at Grand Central. And we're getting a lot of traffic from that and because of that. And I think the entire neighborhood is benefiting.
So what's happening to the tenants who really can't afford the space? I mean, all of a sudden they have a higher operating expenses.
So what you're seeing in Midtown, there are a lot of large companies, a lot of large groups like Amazon, Chase, that are taking a lot of space themselves. Amazon has taken 1.8 million square feet over the last 2 years. Chase has taken a substantial amount of space off the market. If you couple that with the residential conversions that are happening in the neighborhood, the old Pfizer building, 355 Lexington, 261 Madison, I apologize, 750 3rd Avenue. That's all like another 2.2 million square feet. It's put the squeeze on a lot of spaces. And then you have a lot of renewals, a lot of law firms and finance groups that are renewing and expanding at higher rentals. They're pushing, smaller companies out of the Class A buildings into the Class B and B plus buildings.
What about nonprofits who really can't afford this?
One of the nice things about 270 is we've got a leasehold condominium that we've developed. About 3 years ago, we moved in the New York Public Library for their back offices. They took 3 full floors in the building. So we condoed the building, and we can accommodate not-for-profits in our property.
So they won't pay any real estate taxes?
The city finance department has a very nice program that they can apply to have the taxes waived from the building, and that benefits them and it benefits the building.
So have you utilized that program in other buildings?
We haven't yet in buildings that we handle, but we're open to the possibilities for sure.
Okay, so with regard to the WeWorks of the world, the co-sharing, what's your thoughts about that?
My initial thoughts when co-sharing first came about was that it was, I don't know, I didn't subscribe to it. However, I definitely see the benefits for it, and it's changed the way landlords look at their properties. We're now providing pre-builts to people so that they can, they're built, furnished, wired, ready to move in. So smaller tenants don't have to spend a lot of their time and effort working on what their office space is going to be. They can spend their time and effort on their business and growing it, which is what we see is happening. The negative thing to that, initially at least, was that tenants were looking for shorter terms. When we first started in the pandemic, tenants were looking for 6 months, 1 year, because they weren't sure what was happening with the market. They weren't sure who their employees were going to be coming back to the office. That's changed now. People are definitely coming back to the office, at least 3 days a week, if not 4.
Okay. Where do you see the best opportunities as an owner in acquiring properties? Is it Lower Manhattan, Midtown?
I think for us, for ABS, we're definitely in the market to acquire a number of properties this year. And we look at a lot of different properties. Midtown, to me, seems prime for that. There are a lot of buildings that have broken capital structures. Landlords didn't have the wherewithal or didn't have the foresight to do pre-builds and to bring the building up to a market standard. And they're struggling right now. There's some very empty buildings, which is unfortunate because there's a lot of people looking for space out there.
So let's talk about rents 18 months ago and what they are today in some of the properties.
Let's go back to 270 Madison Avenue. 18 months ago, before we had embarked on our pre-built program, we were probably looking in the low 40s. We're probably doing a $42 deal. Today, I just closed a deal at $65, and we're doing a new pre-built floor on the 6th floor that has a terrace, and we're looking at deals in the $75 range for that.
And they were probably in the range of $35 a couple of years ago.
Probably $35 a couple of years ago. It's
So-
a big turnaround.
With regard to, you're going to continue the pre-builts.
It seems to be a special sauce. If you build it, they will come.
And how do you market today?
It's funny. We do a lot
Especially when you're reaching the 1,000 plateau.
We recently hired, she's been on board about a year now. We have a social media person. We do a lot of marketing on social media. And believe it or not, our flyers, our email lists to the other brokers in the community work tremendously well. We do flyers that are broad-stroked, that list every space that it has in the building, and then we do single flyers targeting specific spaces. And we're very successful with that.
Lower Manhattan, what's happening there? I know you don't really have properties there, but what's happening?
We're keeping an eye on it because we think there may be opportunities coming up. Lower Manhattan was probably a $35 deal, 18 months ago, a year ago. I see that growing. I see that there's pressure coming from Midtown, moving to Lower Manhattan, or at least tenants looking in Lower Manhattan now. And I think the prices are inching up into the mid-40s as we speak, and I think you're going to see that through the first quarter, second quarter of 26.
So what's your outlook for 2026?
I'm always a half glass full kind of guy. I believe in New York City. We've been through many cycles, and I'm very excited to see what happens in 2026. I'm bullish.
Last thing, you're involved with the Union Square Partnership. What is that?
I am the co-chair for the Union Square Partnership, which is the business improvement district for the neighborhood. And it's a terrific organization. We have some very good leaders there. We've recently reached an agreement, and the mayor, Mayor Adams, has announced that we're doing what we call our vision plan. We're reimagining the entire corridor of 14th Street from river to river, and of course the park and public areas. I think it's a very well and long overdue look at what we can turn into public and private space.
Retail.
Retail was really the first to come out of the pandemic strong. It was the first to come back. I think landlords were pushing to get retailers back into their buildings, and specifically food uses back into the buildings, so that you would attract tenants and they would come back. It's still strong, but office has caught up and now is outpacing retail in my mind.
Okay. I'd like to thank you for being here, and I know I'll have you back in the new year.
I'm looking forward to it, and thank you very much, Michael.
My pleasure.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.